first thing, we're going to review what we learned about Keith Haring, about his life and his art. The next thing, we're going to brainstorm on the board some social issues, about some social issues we talked about. And then today, hopefully, we'll get started on our artwork. That's what we're going to do for the project, right? We want to get down to the artwork. So, who can raise their hand and tell me anything at all they remember about Keith Haring? Where he lived, what kind of art he did, anything at all that we talked about. Ethan.
He lived in New York City.
Okay. Is that where he was born? Do you remember where he was born? He wasn't born in New York City. He did live there, though. He did move there. He went to school there. Isaac?
He was born in Pennsylvania.
Right, in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. Good. And then he did eventually go to New York to go to art school. Victoria, what else can you tell us about? Okay, do you remember what the disease is called? AIDS. He died of AIDS in the 80s. What else can you tell us about him or his artwork? Aubrey.
He started drawing in the subway in New York.
Good. He started drawing in the subway in New York City. What else? David.
He moved to Chicago.
Did he move to Chicago?
No.
No, I think he did go there and do some artwork there, but I don't think he lived there. But I think you got that confused. Remember on the worksheet we did do some stuff about Chicago. So you're right about that. Yeah. Dogs and babies. What's more, specifically, what more about his artwork makes his different? And there's some on the board over here. What makes his artwork different?
Like in subways and all that stuff, he makes pictures of like no drugs and stuff.
Okay. Can you tell me, so what is he doing with that? What is with the art?
He's like telling people not to do drugs and stuff.
Right. He's telling people a message, not to do drugs, because drugs are bad. What's that called? Do you guys remember when you use art as a way to communicate, to talk to people about something? Remember that word? Social, I think, yeah, social issues or social realism. God, we talked about that. We'll review that PowerPoint again today. What else, Braden? Do you want to tell us something else?
When he got AIDS, he started making things and warning people about AIDS when he died.
Right. Why?
Because he didn't want anyone else, wanted everyone to know, so they know what to do and not get AIDS.
Exactly. Good. And art is a way to tell people, right? It's not just always about drawing a pretty picture. Okay. He used it as a way to talk to people, get a message out. Okay, we got lots more hands up, but we got to get going. What last thing, and then we'll come back to you guys later. Yeah, and also his artworks have no facial features, no hair, no clothes, just very cartoon, simplified, very simple artworks. Good. Let's review the PowerPoint that we showed you at the end of the class, and then we'll do number 2. We'll start brainstorming about some stuff, and that's going to help us with our pictures, our artworks we're going to do today. Okay, so there he is again, Mr. Keith Haring, behind one of his big pictures. All right, graffiti. Who can talk to us about graffiti? We talked about this and how it's it's one of those things, it could be artwork or it can be vandalism. We talked about vandalism. Who can tell us about it? Graffiti. I'll show you a picture. What's graffiti? Abby?
It's a big painting that's painting like on a building with like a spray paint.
Right.
Can.
Spray paint, spray can. What else do you want to tell us about it?
That
I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
sometimes it looks like really cool and you can't like hardly tell like the words that are on there. Sometimes there's words on there.
Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to read.
Something really pretty.
Okay, it can be really pretty. What else? Good.
Like
Speak up so everyone can hear.
So it could be like on a wall.
Okay, on a wall or on trains. Who remembers what vandalism is? We talked about how graffiti could be art or it could be vandalism. Some people view it as vandalism. Think about that. What do you think? It's what?
Like
It could be messy. Let me give you a hint. If I took a big sharp pencil or something really sharp and I came over here and started carving into the table right here, that's vandalism. Vandalism of school property. What is that, Spencer? It's doing something wrong or what? Yeah, doing something you're not supposed to be doing, ruining something, ruining public property, or ruining the school table. Some people think this is wrong. Some people think this is, you're painting on the side of a building in the city or on the side of a train. That's vandalism. Good. But some people view it as artwork, so it can be kind of controversial. And we talked about Keith Haring doing graffiti type stuff down in the subways of New York. But I think he kind of used these black, they can almost look like chalkboards to kind of frame his artwork. So I feel like his wasn't really vandalism, but people may have considered that back then. You can see he's got somebody watching him over there work. Okay, we talked about pop art and not Andy Warhol, that's another guy down here, but Keith Haring is a pop artist. Do you guys remember what pop art is? Pop art. Pop art. Zach? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. You can really like that kind of art, but not necessarily. What do you think, Haley?
It could be like an object, and then you can like draw a picture of it.
Okay, what's this right here?
Like a soup can.
What is this right here?
Mickey Mouse.
What is this right here?
I'm not sure.
Looks like something out of a what?
Spaceship?
Okay. Comic book, okay? Those are all things that we see every day, right? We could go to the store and you walk down the grocery aisle and you see laundry detergent. Or you see a magazine with a celebrity on the front. Or you see, watch some TV and you see Taylor Swift, okay? All of those things are what we call popular culture. They're things in our culture that are popular. Okay, I can say Taylor Swift and all of you pretty much know who I'm talking about, right? Okay, she's a part of pop culture. So pop art is when you take something that's popular and then you make it into art. You draw a picture, you paint a picture, make a sculpture, and that's artwork. And that's what Keith Haring did. Okay, you have a question?
No, but I was one time, I was like in this art class, and like we took lessons in art, and we did pop art.
You did? What did you guys do?
I think it was penguins.
You did something with penguins?
Yeah, it was penguins.
Okay, cool. All right, then we just talked about the subway system. I'm going to just show you a picture in case some of you have not been to a big city before. Basically, it's a train that's underground, and it's a way of transporting from different parts of the city, from one area to the next. It's a big way people travel because a lot of people can't afford cars or have nowhere to park their cars in big cities, so a lot of people walk or use the subway system. And social activism or social issues is what we talked about. Abby pointed that out. This is where we have problems in society. We're making people know, we're making people aware of these problems. And what are some examples? Right here are some examples. Can you guys read those or have somebody raise their hand and read those? Some social problems that are in the world today that people need to know about. Yep, go ahead there. Huh?
I said I would get.
Say it again.
I would get.
You forget what you were going to say? Okay. Can you read on the board up there? See where it says examples of world problems include?
World
Do you know what this word says?
hunger.
Hunger. World hunger is a huge problem. We may not think that because you guys get great lunches every day, but it is a big problem all around the world. Disease, okay? Like Keith Haring had AIDS. Disease is a big problem. AIDS is a huge epidemic in other countries and even in our country. And war, okay, lots of war going on, bad stuff. So things that we should be aware about, they're not always good, happy things, but we should be aware of them. And art is a way to talk about stuff like that. And there are some more examples of his artworks. What are these black lines all around his stuff? Do you remember what we talked about? What are those called? Black lines called, Rachel? Action lines. Remember, they look like it kind of gives the illusion that these characters are moving. Good. We'll have to include action lines on our pictures. Here's some more examples. All right, now we're going to brainstorm on the board. Just to get your brain juices going, and then we're going to do some artwork. We're going to start our project. If we have time, we're going to go back to our website that we looked at last time too. All right, let's talk about social issues, because you're going to have to somehow incorporate a social issue into your artwork, and we'll talk about how to do that. But let's just brainstorm some ideas right now. So we just named off 3 on the PowerPoint. Can you guys think of those or any more social issues that are of the world today? Trevor, what are some social issues that we just talked about? A few. Maybe you can think of a different one. What's a problem that's going on in our world today? What do you say? Littering, okay? So what would that be called when we have littering and pollution? It's our, what's that E word? Environment, good. Environment problems. So you said littering, so we'll just make a little equal sign. Littering. Good, that's good, Trevor. That's good. What else? We just talked about a few on the board. Kaden?
Destroying.
Say it again.
Destroying, like, cutting down trees.
Okay, that's kind of the same thing. We'll put cutting down trees. We don't want to waste. We don't want to cut out our trees down because they're very important to our environment. Ninty, what's another problem?
Is it just like things that break our planet?
No, it could be anything. Any kind of social issue.
Cancer?
Okay, cancer, good. And we'll kind of put cancer under disease. Like Keith Haring had AIDS, that can be another, that's a different type of disease, but it's the same, it's a sickness. A sickness that there is no cure